Hi, it's Gemma from Healing Gems again. So I just wanted to share with you very briefly today what my top tips for healing from chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia and any chronic illness really, whether that be like chronic migraines, chronic headaches, etc. These are my top tips of things to do and to try and heal your body. Because as we know, the body is a self-regulating healing machine. It has the ability to heal itself. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of help. We live in a very, very fast-paced world where we're expected to be rushing around all the time. Stress levels are up, and that doesn't really put us in a good state and a good environment of healing. The body was never designed to probably live how we live in this chronic state of stress. So here are my top tips. I've probably talked about a lot of these before, but I just wanted to put them into one short video to just list what I think will help and can help you. Maybe not all of them will work for you. You may not like some of them. Pick out the ones you do. Find something that you like. Find something that you enjoy, because if you enjoy something, that's half the battle, and that's really, really going to help you. Okay, so yoga. I think yoga has been a massive, massive part of my healing from chronic fatigue. So again, I just started off with very, very gentle yoga, YouTube videos that I came across that were very gentle, very easy. So there's hatha yoga, which you can do. I only really do short sort of bursts of this, 10 to 20 minutes max. You still get a good workout from it. You breathe, it lowers your stress levels, but it keeps you toned, it keeps your body moving, which is essential. So yoga I think is key. But if you aren't there with that, with the energy levels to be able to do hatha yoga, restorative yoga is something you can try before. This uses lots of props like pillows and blankets, and it generally is holding moves, lots of breathing, very restful positions to try and re-energize your body. Now, the one that I absolutely love and probably found about a year or so ago is something called yin yoga. Now, yin yoga is, you generally need at least half an hour to an hour of doing this, but this is holding poses for 3 to 5 minutes and longer sometimes if you want. I find it incredibly relaxing. It might not sound very relaxing in terms of holding yoga poses for a longer period of time, but it really encourages you just to not push yourself too far. Just go to that point where you can feel a stretch, but it's not painful and it doesn't hurt, and you just hold it and you breathe deep and you concentrate on the breathing. And as soon as your mind starts to wander, you're thinking, what am I going to have for dinner? Or, what did I say to so-and-so the other day? I shouldn't have said that. As soon as you catch yourself thinking, you just take yourself back to the breath, and it just puts you into such a very calm, meditative state. I absolutely love it. I try and do it every day, and I think this has been massive in my healing process. And it also, if you're anything like me, before I got chronic fatigue, I loved exercise. I was always out running, you name it, I like to do it, acrobatics, etc. So this kind of fills my need to be able to do exercise and do it for longer than 5 to 10 minutes without pushing myself too far, without crashing. So, I can't speak highly, any more highly of yin yoga. Again, there's full classes on YouTube that you can find, and people that can probably explain it a bit better than I have. I'm not a yoga teacher, but I really, really see the benefit of yin yoga, and it's supposed to help rebalance the body, rebalance and clear the energy systems, and just put yourself into a much more lower stress state, which is what you need to be in to be able to heal from chronic fatigue. Okay, meditation, I've talked about this before. You really have to find ones that you like, and ones that resonate with you. Some meditations I just can't get on with. There's certain meditations that I really like and I will do time and time again. Some people I just like to listen to music, like some soft music and just breathe. That might be enough. Some of you might like to meditate counting. Some of you might to meditate with like a mantra. Or there's other types of meditation, like the Om meditations where you're sort of making sounds. So again, you just need to find a meditation that works for you, and you must try and do it every day, if not twice a day, especially in the very sort of beginning of the healing stages. I would look to meditate 2 to 3 times a day, even if just for 10 minutes, just to really just push your body back into that healing state. And I know that sounds a lot. Like when I first got ill, the thought of meditating, even once a day, let alone 3 times a day, was just such an awful thought. But now, sort of 4 years on, I love doing it. I'll think, oh God, when can I go and do 10 minutes of meditation and just deep breathe and get myself into a nice, calm, relaxed state. So you can learn to really appreciate meditation. But I think for anyone who has these kinds of illnesses, it's an essential tool to master, because you can do it anywhere. If you're sitting, if you're out and about and you can find a bench to sit on and just sort of either close your eyes or keep your eyes open and just deep breathe, that's a meditation in itself. Which brings us on to mindfulness. Actually, mindfulness is great, again, for refocusing the mind. If you find yourself getting anxious and overwhelmed and your thoughts are racing and you just generally don't feel good, then you need to have a look at mindfulness. And this could be like if you're walking, you listen to the sounds around you, like the passing cars, or you take notice of how your feet are taking contact with the pavement, or how your arms feel when they're sort of pushing against your side, or the sounds of your clothes rustling as you walk, or if you're sitting down, what can you hear around you? What are the nearby sounds? What are the more far away sounds? This is really, really, again, essential to sort of like incorporate into your day-to-day activities. And like maybe if you're eating, most of us eat without thinking. So, or we eat, but we're thinking about God knows what else, but we're not thinking about our food. So, think about, what's the texture of the food like? Think about how you bring the fork to your mouth, and, really concentrate on it. And when you drink, what does it sound like? How can you feel the water going down your throat? So it's really taking into account everything that is going on with what you're doing in the moment. And it might sound, well, that sounds a lot of effort, or that sounds like a lot of thinking, but it's good thinking. It's not worrying, it's not procrastinating, it's not going into the past, it's not going into the future and having all these worrisome thoughts going on in your head, which again increase stress levels. It's just thinking about what you're doing, and it's a safe place. So if you're eating, it's quite a safe thought to have about the colour of your food, the texture of your food, that kind of thing. So yeah, mindfulness, again, tons of books out there on mindfulness, but essentially mindfulness is just being present with what you are doing within that given moment and giving it your full undivided concentration. So washing up can even become fun. You can be doing the washing up, you can feel the heat of the water on your hands, you can hear the bubbles maybe popping and crackling as you do the washing up, but you can feel the drip of the water coming off the plate as you pull it out the sink. So you can apply mindfulness to absolutely anything that you do. Okay, so EFT, I've talked about this before, emotional freedom technique, or tapping, is where you tap different parts of the body. And I promise I will do some videos on tapping just to be able to get you started and get you into it. But again, tapping has been essential, I think, for me and my recovery. And again, what I said in one of my other videos is with tapping, it's kind of like layers. It's like peeling that onion and getting through the layers to get to the core of the problems. So with chronic fatigue, you have a lot of physical symptoms. So if you're new to EFT, you might just start tapping on what the physical symptoms are. So it might be like, my legs feel wobbly, or it might be I've got a really bad headache, or I feel dizzy, or whatever it is, and you do tap in on the physical symptoms. But the more and more you go into tapping and the more you learn about it, you'll start to uncover there's lots of the emotional reasons that you might feel unhappy, not just about the illness, but the emotional reasons that probably helped lead you to the illness as well. So again, and to be honest, these are really, really hard subjects to deal with. So you might want to use a trained practitioner when you first get started. But they all relate to things like, self-esteem, self-worth, how you feel loved by people, or not feeling lovable, etc. Really deep core issues that have pretty affected you for a long, long time. And people don't like to talk about this kind of stuff. They really don't. But EFT, it gives you a really safe space to be able to do this. You don't even have to do it with anyone else. You can do EFT on your own in private. You can say exactly what you like. It doesn't matter because no one's going to hear you apart from yourself. But what it does do is it tries to re-educate your body and your mind about how to feel about these things, and try and unblock blockages within the body, and really sort of like rewire the brain into a more helpful way of thinking, which sounds very, very complicated, but honestly EFT is very, very simple. Anyone can do it once you've learned the basics. So EFT is another one. The other thing, which you kind of have to be doing like all the way through the day, and again this sounds like a real chore, is monitoring your thoughts and catching your thoughts. It's so easy, especially when you have chronic fatigue and illnesses like this, to get lost in thought about the illness. How did I get here? How am I what am I going to do? How I can't work, what about the money? And the thoughts can run away from you, and none of these are going to be good, helpful thoughts. They're going to stress you out even more. And this is generally why when people get chronic fatigue, it's almost like they get worse before they get better, because all of these other stresses that come along with having the illness increase your stress levels, which means the symptoms increase. And it isn't until you start to lower your stress levels that the symptoms start to decrease. So noticing your thoughts, noticing when you're going, into your thoughts, you're worrying, you're procrastinating, you're worrying about what's going to happen in the future, or you're looking back at past events that happened and analysing and stressing out about them. You just need to stop. So stop. As soon as you catch yourself thinking these thoughts, you just need to, in your head, just be like, I'm just stop. I'm just not thinking this anymore. Take a nice deep breath, just let it go, and think, how would you want to feel after that? How do you want to feel? Do you want to be lost in thought and be angry or sad or whatever the emotion is that's come up? Or do you want to feel happy? Or do you want to be content? Or do you want to enjoy the rest of your day? They're all the things that, you can then start to try and put more positive emotion into it. So I think that's been a big one for me, is like making sure throughout the day, you can do all your meditations and stuff in the morning, but you do need to be conscious throughout the day on what your mind is doing. And again, I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not, but the more you stop the thoughts and the more you calm the body down, the less you'll have the thoughts, and you won't have them so much and you won't notice them so much. So when I first got it, I literally think my mind would be going 24/7 with these thoughts. So it felt like I was stopping them every 2 seconds. But now, my mind is so much calmer. I'm not saying that I don't ever, get worrisome thoughts, because that's just not normal. It's that human beings, where everyone worries from time to time, but it's not what it was, where it's like 24/7 of worrying. It's now a lot more manageable and a much more calmer state of being. Okay. And just rest is another one. So sometimes, you can think, right, what can I do to help myself in this given situation of how I'm feeling right now? It might be that I think, yeah, yoga's the best thing for me here, or meditation, or EFT. But sometimes it's just doing nothing. It's just maybe going up to bed, putting an audiobook on, or listening to some very calm music, and allowing your body to fall asleep, allowing yourself just to get all the rest that it can, and not judging yourself for it. So even if it's like, in the middle of the day and you need to sleep, that's fine, because that's what your body needs. But you will get very good at looking at, these are the tools that I have, tools as in meditation, EFT, and thinking, how do I feel? And what is the best tool going to be for me to use right in this moment in time? The other yoga that I wanted to mention is something called Yoga Nidra. And this isn't yoga in the traditional sense of movement. It is like a meditation, but a lying down meditation. Most meditations will say to sit up and do them, which is fine. But sometimes, when your body's feeling really tired and even sitting up is a struggle, then Yoga Nidra is brilliant, I think, for really putting yourself in a calm and relaxed state. Again, go on YouTube, type in Yoga Nidra. They've got 15-minute ones, they've got half an hour, Yoga Nidra, and it's just very nice and calming. They do different things like take your awareness to different parts of the body. They might do like sort of counting. They might do visualizations of different objects. Lots of different things. Lots of different practitioners use different kind of methods. But again, I've tried to incorporate this into my daily routine, and I have found it really, really beneficial. Okay, and then the other two things that I do, not so much now, but at the beginning when I first got ill, was to really try and just remind myself of all the good things I have in my life, despite having chronic fatigue. So I do a gratitude list. So you might do it while you're in the shower or in the bath. You haven't got to sit there and write this list out. You can just do it in your head. So it might be, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the breakfast that I'm just about to eat. Or it might be, I'm grateful for a roof over my head. I'm grateful for the water that comes out the tap and it's clean and I haven't even got to think about it. And, these small elements of gratitude, I think really, really help to put things into context. And maybe you are at the stage where you can go for a walk. You can be grateful. I mean, I'm grateful every day that I can go for a walk. Before I just took it for granted. Now, I so appreciate being able to go for a walk and spend 20 minutes, half an hour outside, and be able to come back and feel okay. Or if I don't feel okay, I can go and rest for half an hour, and then I feel so much better. But that is definitely on my gratitude list. Or it might be, I'm grateful that I can do 5 minutes of yoga. And then tomorrow it might be, I'm grateful I can do 6 minutes of yoga. So, you don't have to have amazing, massive things going in your life to be grateful. So, yeah, again, just 5 things every morning. Remind yourself, even if they're the same 5 things, remind yourself of what you're grateful for in life. And another thing I like to do every day, and I do it on my way to work, is maybe 5 or 10 things I'm looking forward to that day. And again, these can be really, really small, simple things. It could be like, talking to my sister on the phone, or it might be, I'm really looking forward to that cup of tea that I'm going to have when I get into work in the morning. And really go into detail about it. It's hot, it's warm, it's going to make me feel nice. So it's going into just the smallest of details of things that you're looking forward to. Maybe you're meeting a friend for a coffee. Maybe you're going to treat yourself to a chocolate bar or something like that. So they can just be small elements of gratitude. And then the other last thing, which is a much bigger topic just in itself, is about food, healthy eating and looking after yourself, making sure you drink plenty of water, trying to lower your sugar intake, reducing your caffeine intake. I drink tea still, but if you drink a lot of coffee, then trying to reduce the amount of coffee you drink. I've sort of switched to a more sort of vegetarian, plant-based diet, but it's taken me 4 years to get there. I didn't just switch. Along the way of my illness, within the 4 years, I've tried various diets. I've tried cutting various things out, but I try to refrain from eating things like, white pasta, bread, cakes and all of those kind of things. There's so many great cookbooks out there which you can make alternatives which are still just as yummy, and I actually have got a video on that as well. So anyway, that's a huge subject just in itself, but just in the just for the purpose of this video, just eat as healthy as you can, lots of vegetables, eat fruit but not too much because it's got like quite a lot of sugar in it. Try and eat foods that are filling, that are nutritional. And again, if you don't know too much about food, you can go seek a nutritionist help. They can always advise you on good things to eat, but there's such a wealth of information online. And I would advise, having a look at plant-based diets, because again, these are supposed to be so good for your health. And there's stories of people who have adopted these diets and, aches and pains have disappeared within weeks. And again, I do think having changed my diet, which was bad before I got to having chronic fatigue, I ate simply because, it's something as quick as possible because I didn't have time to prepare good meals. So I was eating lots of pasta, white pasta, wasn't really having a lot of fruit and vegetables. But now, I make sure I put a lot more care and attention into my diet. And actually, it's quite fun looking at new recipes and putting new things together and trying new foods, which I've never even heard of before. So anyway, that is my top tips, guides to things to look at. Don't try changing everything at once because that's just not going to be helpful. Introduce a new thing maybe every week. 1 week, let's introduce meditation, get used to that. Week 2, try a bit of tapping, incorporate that into your routine. Maybe week 3, you're going to have a look at eating some new foods that are going to be helpful and nutritious to you. So that's my number 1 tip. Don't try and change everything at once. I tried to do that and it caused me more stress than trying to do it gradually. You didn't get this illness overnight. It's built up over many years. So just changing one thing isn't going to cure it. Everything helps. It's just, if you think about it in terms of a little bit of everything will help to build towards making you better. So, just changing your diet and paying no attention probably to the breathing and the yoga and your emotional well-being isn't going to cure you 100%. It probably will help you and make you better to a certain level, but you need to address this. And also, addressing your emotional state is not going to make you 100% better because you haven't looked at the food. So, it's a massive combination of all different sorts of things with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And it is a very daunting experience. It is. And, it's something you just need to do gradually and take every day as it comes. If you have a bad day, don't worry about it because tomorrow is another day. And I think that's another thing that you need to become really good at is coaching yourself. So like when you are having a bad day, my way of thinking that I try to tell myself is, look, this isn't a forever thing. It will pass. Tomorrow It might be the same or it might be slightly better. And even if it's a tiny fraction better, that's I'm healing, and you're on the road to recovery. So, oh, my cat's come to join. And if you've got a pet, actually, pets are great for healing. You know, so if you've got a pet, cat or a dog, then, you know, they can really help in your healing process as well. The amount of love that you can get from animals is amazing. So anyway, that's what I'm going to share with you today. Again, questions, put them in the comments box. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Share it. Try and help anyone who has chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. Okay, good luck, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.